Just be careful, nah, nah. Love ain't simple, nah, nah. Promise me no promises.
What's up, guys? I'm Kate Hostetler. I'm the Senior Community Partnerships Manager at Fiverr, and I'm here in Miami with Cheat Codes.
Yo, what up, Fiverr?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Pretty good, can't complain. Enjoying Miami Music Week?
Of course, yeah. It's the first time in 3 years since we've been back here. So it's well, we've been to Miami, but not for Music Week. So
yeah,
it's good to be back.
Cool. So I have a lot of questions for you guys today, but I think the best way to start is a little bit of backstory. So if you guys could just tell me how Cheat Codes came together, were you guys involved in music growing up? How did you guys meet? Give me the rundown.
Cool.
Yeah, so we actually all met in LA, and Trevor needed a roommate. He was coming from Portland, Oregon, and had an open laundry room. And I didn't think of it as like an extra room, but Trevor's like, this is perfect. And he turned into a recording studio, and he was just making records down there all the time. And I was like, I was doing music, and I saw him doing music and hustling it, and I was like, oh, we should start writing together. So we actually started, we used to do like jingles together and just like write random songs for like commercials. And then later I met Kevy, and I was making hip hop beats, and he was a rapper.
Yep.
Called Lil Kev.
You called Lil Kev? Oh, okay.
but anyway, he needed some like fat beats.
Yeah.
So
fat beats.
yeah. So this producer actually ended up he was kind of swindling us. Like I was working on his production. He took my beats, but then he took me off the project, and then he owed us money, and then he took money from Kevy, so we took him to small claims court.
Michael Wilson.
Yeah, shout out Michael Wilson. I don't know what you're up to, man, but I'm just gonna say the story at every interview from now until the end of time. Maybe you'll see one of them. So anyway, we took him to small claims court. We won, and then we became good friends after that. And I was like, Trevor, you gotta meet this guy Kevy. He's like really cool guy.
Yeah.
And we started writing songs together, and the first song we wrote was called Visions, and we kind of came up with the idea of Cheat Codes because of your brother.
Yeah. My brother used to be in like a rock band back in the day, and one day when I think they were touring, they played like Madison Square Garden, and I asked him like, oh, how'd you do this? And he's like, oh, I got the cheat code. And I was telling Matt that story, and Matt's like, oh, that should be the name, Cheat Codes. So that's sick. Yeah, now the rest is history. Now we're here talking to you.
That's it.
Yeah, that was like last week, and now we're here. It's like talking to you.
Wow, time really flies.
Yeah.
So, wow, okay, nothing like a lawsuit to bring you guys together.
Yeah,
exactly.
Really interesting story. I hope that guy isn't working with anybody else, but
Yeah.
good life lesson,
Look him up.
don't rip people off.
Yeah.
So, I guess, when you guys first released your song, how long has it been? Like, when was your first song released?
It was either 2014 or 2015, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we started making music in 2014, but then we dropped the first one in 2015.
Yep.
I know that you had music in 2015 because I listened to a lot of it.
Oh, there we go.
So,
You were early on then.
Yeah, I was
Hey.
real early.
I love that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely on my like Spotify most played every year.
Hell
Yes.
Let's go.
But anyways, so can you guys identify a moment when you feel like you were finally like, okay, this is going somewhere. We're gonna make it now, or like we're taking off.
The very first day we made a song together, I felt like it was going somewhere. I didn't know where it was going, but I felt really good about it, and it felt very organic, and it just felt right. We weren't like forcing anything. We were just making music because we like were really excited about it, and so I remember just the first day feeling very, very good. But I guess the first time, I don't know, I noticed that something was really happening with when our song Sex came out and started just going crazy on like Spotify and whatever, and just seeing how many plays I was getting every day. I was like, oh, this is turning into something crazy. So.
Yeah, because that was like a global thing. So it was like a trip for us because it ended up being the number 2 song overall in Amsterdam. And the song that we were trying to beat was One Dance by Drake. So we were like, oh, we were like so close. But
if you have to lose out to anybody,
Yeah.
That's okay.
So we like flew to Amsterdam, and we did like a late night performance there in Amsterdam. It was like, well, this is like crazy. Like everybody in the whole country like knows this song. Like, and it ended up becoming global from there. But even before that, it's like when you start from nothing, every little thing feels like a big deal. Like back in the day, it was like this thing called Hype Machine. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it was basically like like almost like a Reddit of like blogs, and they would chart like songs that were being picked up by music blogs. And the first song we put out got #1 on Hype Machine, and we were like, wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's crazy. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
So where were you guys releasing music? Like, I assume at the time you didn't have a label. So was it on SoundCloud? Was it on Spotify? Like,
Yeah, it was on just
TuneCore.
Yeah, through TuneCore, which
Oh,
allows
okay.
you to distribute to iTunes.
so it was everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. We did some SoundCloud releases, like remixes for like just like unofficial remixes in the beginning, like
Yeah.
on SoundCloud for like Borns or whoever
Yeah.
else, and we did like a contest for Odessa when we first started, and we like came in 3rd place or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
but no, it was cool because we got like 2nd or 3rd, and then they sent us. I don't know if they signed it. I can't remember.
They signed it.
Oh, okay.
The vinyl.
Yeah, they sent us like a vinyl of their album, the first album they did in like 2014, 2015. So that was like, we were like, wow, that's like sick. Like this, because you get that validation
Yeah.
from like a legit
Just
artist, and
artist.
then you're like, oh, if they think it's cool, then maybe like
Maybe we're pretty good.
maybe we're good enough to do it
We should keep
ourselves.
going.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, those moments are always good and keep you motivated.
And then from there, what led you guys to getting signed at a label? Like, how fast did that happen, and how did that happen? Like, did someone reach out to
It happened that
you?
first song.
Really quick, we were able to do these things called singles deals,
Yeah.
and so instead of signing like a long-term deal in the beginning, we weren't stuck. We were able to get enough momentum with the music that we were releasing that we were able to like do deals with certain territories and certain labels with like within a like this label would handle these 3 countries and this label would handle these other countries, and you would just sign that particular song to that label in those territories. So we were able to not get stuck with anything too like long term or anything really early on, which allowed us to kind of release music consistently and use the money that they were using, to fund the project. And yeah, so I mean, as far as like, but we have signed deals since then, and we've done all sorts of different things, whether it's a long-term deal or distribution deals. But right now we're like back to being independent, and we're just doing a distribution deal, which gives us all the power to do whatever we want and spend the money the way we want to, and gives us full control. So it's cool.
So I think something that would be really interesting for everybody that's at this event, a lot of people are aspiring artists. So they look at your career and that's the goal, the dream. So now that you've gone from working with labels, you were independent, then worked with a label, now you're independent again, do you have any advice for people that are kind of thinking that the key to making it is being signed with a label?
Well, I would say, first off, I want to say that I don't think the goal of any artist should be to get signed to a label.
Yeah.
The label is there to help facilitate and promote and market your records. If that's your goal, then you should change your mentality. That should be step one. Don't do
Making
that.
good music should be
Right.
is-
Right. So what gave us leverage in the first place to be able to say we're not going to sign a long-term deal with you, when every other artist that they were working with were doing at least 3-song deals or like year terms or whatever it was because we were doing everything ourselves. Like we were producing all the music, we were writing it, singing it. At some points we were mixing it ourselves and doing the artwork ourselves. I actually designed the logo like that we still use,
Really?
just like ourselves. So we tried to we kind of shot like music videos ourselves in the beginning, and they looked kind of bad. So
Yeah.
we was like delegating that, but it's like with something like Fiverr, it allows you to have access in this digital era where you can kind of get help from people around the world, no matter where you're at in the country. And the more that you can do on your own, and even if you have a lower budget, I mean, we didn't have any money. We were probably putting like $100 in each release every time we put a song, because we were just paying for mastering, somebody to master the record. So it allows you to have more leverage versus if a label is going to sign you and they're like, okay, cool, well, you have these like demos and it's just like acoustic guitar and like a crappy recording. We're gonna have to spend all this money and do everything for you for it to be like a finished product just to put out a song. Then that's more of an investment they gotta put out. Versus if like, oh, we don't have to put any money into this song, all we have to do is like release it or market it or whatever. Then it's like way less of a risk for them. So then you have more leverage. So
Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's not something that a lot of people can speak to, because I think you think of so many of the big artists and everyone's signed to someone, so it's just kind of an assumption that you need that and that you can't make it
Right.
without it.
Yeah, the more time goes on, the less power the labels have. Like, it used to be one of these like gatekeeping sort of things where like they had the control over like you know, what was being played on the radio, or like what was gonna go like. They didn't have TikTok back in the day or whatever, you know, or even, you know, MySpace or Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is. Like with like social media and the tools that people have at their hands now, it's like you can make anything happen by yourself if you're really hustling. Whether it's making the music or promoting it or like doing your own photo shoots or like whatever, or even being able to just collaborate with other people that are doing, you know, like you find a photographer that's your friend or whatever. So it's just a matter of just like hustling and getting things done by yourself without like relying on anybody else. And like you know, labels are basically expensive banks at this point.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like they're banks
Right.
with terrible interest rates, and they hold your music and they own it or whatever. So it's like at this point, it's like you might as well just go to a bank and just learn about and just trial and error, learn about what you're doing, and just, you know, make mistakes, but learn.
Yeah, it's like something that like Elon Musk talks about. For example, like, have you ever seen a Tesla commercial?
No.
They don't exist because his company doesn't spend any money on marketing. They spend all their money on the product, and then the product markets itself.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you have to do that as an artist, because you do have to market yourself, but I'm saying at the end of the day, the product is the most important thing. And when I say product, I mean like their artwork, the music video, or however you're designing the art, like the creative of it. So it's like the more you can do by yourself, or hiring your own team to help you with it, the more leverage you're gonna have in that situation. And with social media, you can kind of market yourself for very cheap or free, which didn't really exist before, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot more accessibility now than there was. I mean, the industry is a completely different game. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about collaborations. So you guys have collaborated with a ton of cool artists. I mean, a few being Demi Lovato, Fetty Wap, Iconopop, Kriss Kross, Kim Petras. Who was your favorite collaboration and why?
Musically or like just personality wise?
Both.
All right. That's a good question.
I liked
Or
working.
your least favorite?
Oh,
Maybe
well.
that's
Maybe that's an even better story. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
I liked working with Lee Bryce. I think it was cool. Like,
Yeah.
I guess that was like our first legit country collab we ever did, or only, I guess.
Little Big Town.
A Little Big Town, yeah, that's right. But we didn't get to meet them,
So,
so that was that. But yeah, Lee Bryce was just cool, like seeing his process, and like seeing how he does his shows, and how serious, not serious, but like how they handle their craft, like with the live side of it, and their touring, and like he'll have like a recording studio on his bus, and like they'll like record songs and while they're traveling around the country, and you know, they just the lifestyle of it is like cool, and also how like humble, and how he still has like a normal life with like a family and kids, and this is like, he treats it like a job. So it's cool being around like older people that can kind of give you advice, or just give you an example of like, oh, this is like how a professional acts, you know what I mean? So I always respect that, because sometimes you work with artists and not necessarily that they're ego driven or whatever, but they just think they're very important, and they're like, I'm a rock star, like, ah! It's like more like that energy, and you're like, that's definitely cool, and like I appreciate that, but it's also kind of like, it's scary in a sense. You're like, damn, can you keep that up forever? Like, is that how long?
it's exhausting, huh?
Yeah, versus if you need, I forget how old Lee is, but he's like definitely older than us, and when you see that, and you're like, oh, this guy's been doing it forever, and he's been so successful, had so many #1s, that he's still able to keep doing it, and you kind of see how it's like the mentality of how he's doing it. So
I guess it's probably easier too when it's not an act.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if
He's
that's
a
just
genuine
who
guy.
he
Yeah,
is,
he's a real deal.
and that like resonates with people and makes them actually like him more. So,
Totally.
what about you guys?
It's hard to pick a favorite, but we did a song with Tyson Ritter from All American Rejects, and he's just a really interesting guy, really very, very passionate dude.
Yeah.
He's like
Okay.
he's one of a kind, you know. You meet him and you're like, I'll never meet anybody like that guy ever again. He's off the wall, but he's really cool, very passionate, like really cares, and it's cool to see people that really, really give a shit. So I'm gonna go with Tyson.
No, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I like probably Fetty Wap. You know, I was always a big fan of him, and then working with him was really sick, and like hanging out with him a couple times. I did a couple shows with him.
He's cool.
He's a super nice guy, and his whole crew is all really nice, and that was a really fun experience.
Do you guys have a dream collaboration?
Yeah, I think Drake, and I want to add Calvin Harris to that list too now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Adam,
yeah,
especially Adam.
Those
Yeah,
are good ones.
yeah.
does he know that you added him?
You gotta hit him.
I'm gonna let him know. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I just had him today.
Shoot him a DM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey, you've been added to the list.
Yeah, it's only been Drake, but yeah, he's been
It's
added
like a
today.
shared. It's like a shared note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sees all your lists.
Yeah. I gotta go with Paul McCartney. You know.
Oh wow, yeah.
love the
That'd be
Beatles. I've always
sick.
loved the Beatles. That would be just, I could just stop right after that. I think that could be it for me. Not really, but you know.
That'd be so
Yeah.
sick.
Would love that. What about you, Matt?
I think Morgan Freeman.
That'd be sick. Like on an intro.
You have like narrate, you know.
Okay.
Because then you could have that for the set forever.
You
Imagine.
do like the interludes.
That is true.
in between
Yeah,
the
like you know,
songs.
Chico's
Oh my God,
set
great.
starts and then it's
You
like
know,
Bro.
like the intro, like after the third song,
something like that.
sixth song.
Dark
yeah.
Knight.
You know-
I mean,
Fantastic.
we could like pay a shit ton of money to get that, or we could just like clip something from
30
Dark Knight
seconds,
or
25
something.
seconds.
And save money.
Isn't there copyright around that?
No, when you play a show, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
DJing, you know.
I mean, Morgan Freeman, wow. That's a.
But it would be cooler if you had something original.
I'm not sure anyone's answered that question with that before, but it's not a
Solid
bad
answer.
answer. Yeah, I like it.
Solid.
I'm into
It's
it.
a good one.
Okay, so in the same vein, all of these people that you've collaborated with, some of them are vastly different genres. So rap, country, more pop, EDM. Like, where did you guys? Did you ever envision yourselves going into all these different genres, and like, how did that start? Have you always been open to them?
Yeah, I think that's sort of been a big idea behind like getting into this style of music. For me as a producer, I love the idea of being able to work with different styles of music and not be bored making the same song over and over. So I think that we've always kind of loved the idea of being able to work with different artists, different genres, and create something special, meet in the middle, do what we do, and do what they do. So it's always been a really appealing thing that we've kind of always done since we started, and just we don't really see it stopping anytime soon. So.
Yep.
Is there a favorite genre, or one that you were like, I'm not sure how I feel about this when you started it, but then you were like, wow, I want to do more? Like, I think country maybe, but maybe you guys love that, so.
Yeah, I love country.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved country. I've loved like every genre. I like all music, so it's just a matter of if it's a good song or not. So we're diving in on a lot of country songs right now. Actually, we're doing a whole country project with some really very very talented artists. So I don't know if I can say it, but anyways, it'll be cool.
That's awesome. I remember when people first started doing like the country kind of EDM crossover, and I personally love it, so I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
Oh, we
Is
did
that
it.
coming later this year? Can you give
Yeah.
me any sneak peek information?
I mean,
Later this year.
yeah, it's
That's
definitely coming out.
Yeah,
It's definitely
definitely
coming out this
coming
year. Bunch of new songs. Like it'll be like within the next few months, it'll be another single from the project for sure.
Yep.
So yeah.
Cool. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about LA. So I know that's where you guys live now. That's kind of the home of the music industry. But there's a lot of people that are obviously other places in the world, and they kind of think, can I make it the same? Do I have to go to LA to make it in the industry? How do you guys feel about that? Do you think LA has had a huge influence on your career, or could you kind of do it from anywhere? If you're an aspiring artist, like, what would you say to people?
Yeah, I mean, we met in LA, so it's like we kind of would be lying if we said
Yeah.
like cheat codes probably wouldn't exist, I guess, if it wasn't for that. So I think it's definitely good for networking, and you like kind of realize that it's like a small circle when it comes to like writers and producers. Like you think there's like thousands and thousands, but it feels like there's not that many.
Yeah, I mean, and we're in the music business too. So I mean, it's cool if you just want to sit in your room making music and just kind of make your art and everything. If you have a fantastic team that knows the ins and outs that you trust 100%, great. But if you want to do music as a business and as a career, like you got to learn about everything, not just the music. So I mean, LA is a great place to learn like all sorts of everything when it comes to the business and how it works and how to get heard and yeah. So I think it's a really good place to go to. You don't have to, but Nashville's great, Atlanta's great.
Yeah,
Um,
I almost look at it more like networking. So it's like
Yeah.
if you don't have a network, if you're like, damn, I'm just starting and like I don't know anybody. Like
Right.
how do I like you have so many questions because you got to realize like you can learn stuff on your own with the internet, but if you have kind of like a mastermind group, even with us it was like 3 dudes. Well, we had more than 3 dudes that were kind of like bouncing ideas off of. We actually lived in a house where there's like 9 people and we're all doing music, and it was kind of that creative thing. It's like if you have 9 people all trying to get better at something and learning different things, and you're telling your different pitfalls and different like, oh, I tried this and this worked, or I tried this and it didn't work, you're actually going to learn at a way higher exponential rate. So like you can do that on the internet. You don't necessarily need LA for that, but it is a good place. Like you can just go to like a random house party and like 90% of the people there are in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So
And when you're making songs every day and the people around you are making songs every day and they're showing you what they're making, and you're like, how did you do that? And you're learning just
You're
by
learning
watching.
fast.
You're also driving yourself more. Like you're you're hearing what other people are doing, and you want to get better. You want to beat what they're doing, and they want to beat what you're doing. It just kind of makes you want to get better, and in a friendly way. It's not like this, bad thing. It's just that drives you to get better.
Right. So, in cheat codes, do you guys each have like a specific medium that you focus on? Like, does one of you always write? Does one of you always produce? Like, how does that break out? And
I mainly focus on production.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've mainly been focusing on like the live stuff. So like when we first started, we didn't know how to DJ or anything. we were just like putting out records. Yeah, and the first show was horrible.
Do you know how?
Yeah.
Do you know how to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the beginning,
There was no transitions. There was no like edits or like intros or outros. There was like play a song, 2 minutes, next song, 2 minutes. Like it was pretty
Using
bad.
the Spotify like fade into other songs.
Yeah.
We used to carry in our own little controller when we first started.
Yeah,
Which was like the
that was so
dorkiest
funny. I
thing. If I
forgot
saw somebody
about
that, I'm
that,
like, man, they're just getting started, huh?
I forgot.
We had no idea what we were doing. So.
It's not necessarily dorky if you're doing like more of a live thing, but for
You don't want to be.
It's a nightclub.
for like
Yeah,
nightclubs,
yeah.
for like more of a DJ set, it's just unnecessary.
Okay, so I have a
Yeah.
question. As somebody that's been to a decent amount of shows, do all DJs and artists play live when they're playing tracks that they're not singing? Or is or do you just press play and
Are you saying are you
you're
asking?
playing a club? Do you press play or are you actually mixing things live?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're mixing. I think there's if it's at a club, I think they're usually mixing. I think there are certain shows that are more bigger productions, whether it's a festival or like a higher
So it's
higher
like
production
bigger
show that
budget.
might just be like
There's a
completely
there's a thing called
on its own.
Ableton. If it's running on Ableton, it's just one press play, then it goes.
Yeah, but sometimes even if it's on Ableton, you can kind of trigger the tracks with like a MIDI controller.
Right. We use CDJs.
But there's not really like
Mixing.
it'd be really risky to do that like in a club like on CDJs if it's like an hour-long track, because then
What if
if
the
you like
CDJ
if
breaks
it
or
skips or you lose your place, then you're just like, where do I go?
Yeah. For sure. Okay, so speaking of like mixing, you guys have remixed a ton of songs, and
Yeah.
I think one of your biggest, most played songs, "Pretty Girl,"
Yep.
is a remix, which has also been. I probably have 1 million of those streams.
Amazing. Thank
You're
you. Thank
welcome.
you. Love that. Keep going.
But how do you guys like choose what songs to remix? Are you still interested in doing that, or is that not just something that you wanted to do like starting out?
We definitely like the idea of doing remixes. We just like, I don't know. It's just, we have so much music that we want to release ourselves, and we
Yeah.
only release so many songs a year before it gets like a little crazy, And so we just have so much of our music that we want to release before we remix somebody else's at this point, So it's kind of hard to fit that into the schedule. But if there's a song that we think could be better than the original version, and somebody wants us to remix it, or if we really love the song or whatever, then we're definitely open to it.
So do people come to you and ask you like, "Hey, could you remix this
Oh, yeah, all the
song?"
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to say no to it a lot the last few years, but once in a while, if the song stands out to us, or like I said, if we think we can make it something special, then we'll go for it.
Do you think that remixing other people's songs was something that helped you guys like, kind of get off the ground and get noticed because it was a song that people knew, so they already resonated, versus if you guys were to start with like original songs?
Totally. I would say that flipping a song, like making, like taking an old song and making it your own, sort of like what we did with Sex, is helped us a lot more than just remixes. Remixes definitely helped, and Pretty Girl's our most streamed song ever, so it definitely helps. But in the beginning for us, the flipping songs like Let Me Hold You and Sex would really move the needle forward for us. So.
And it's pretty hard to predict like a remix getting that big. It's not really like
It's
any
rare.
sort of science to it. It just kind of like happens. So, and even that one, like we kind of just did it because the label asked us to do it.
Wait, which one? Pretty Girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Really?
We signed, and then like right after we signed, Maggie Lindemann signed, and they put out that song, and it was, I don't know why, but the version they released was horribly slow.
It was just very slow.
So
But we
slow.
heard, like the lyrics are great, the melodies are great, but this is a very slow song. So we thought
We sped it up like
we
20,
definitely
at least
made
like
it
20
catchy.
BPM or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, I had never heard the original song, and when I heard your guys's, it took me a minute to realize that it was a remix, and then I went out and searched for the original song, and I remember listening to it, and I was like,
I can swear, I can show, I sleep with. It's like, what? It sounds like she's singing in slow motion. It's like, how could you even sing this?
Yeah.
Like, at the booth like that?
Just ripping it apart.
No, I'm just saying.
Great song! Obviously, the bones of it were amazing.
Yeah.
Singing.
I love that. That is good.
No, I'm just saying, I just remember we were kind of like, I don't know, but the label was like, go on, it'll be good, dude.
Speed it up and see.
Like, okay, we'll try it, you know. And they were like, oh, okay, sounds cool. Spit up.
The power of collaboration.
But, yeah, it's
Gave
also
it new
true.
life.
The power, like, it was a good melody, you know. If you have a good melody, that really matters.
Right, yeah,
2
the
million
lyrics
streams all
are
the way to
good,
700 million streams.
800 million.
800 million, sorry. It's a big multiply.
Dang.
Yeah, fast.
I think the original was like 10 or 20.
No, when we did it though, I
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
5 years ago, 2017, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay,
Amazing.
so you guys have been on tour with a lot of pretty big acts, notably Chainsmokers and Demi Lovato.
Yep.
What is something that you guys have learned from touring with other artists? Or what did you like about it? What did you dislike about it?
It's cool, but it definitely makes you want to just have your own tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing your own tour is a lot more fun, for sure. You just
So
have
it's
to-
about you.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's your fans. It's like you kind of control how however every day's gonna run and the vibe of the show and
Yeah.
the energy in the bus and like whatever. So it's just cool to and you're picking your friends, like people that you want to be there and all sorts of stuff. So
And
it's just-
we definitely, like, not that we pissed off DJs, but we pissed off, like, industry people, whether it's, like, agents or whatever, for, like, when we're opening and we like to go hard. So, like, but most people, when they book their openers, they don't want them to be more hyped than, like, the main act. So it's like,
yeah, you go for it.
if it's like us, if it's like us three.
Which artist that you toured with are you more hyped at?
It's the thing.
No, I'm just saying, if there's three of us and we're like on stage yelling and spraying people with champagne and throwing money in the crowd and we're on the mics, and then there's like a DJ who's just one guy mixing music after us, it's like, how do you be more hyped than that?
You're a hard act
It's-
to follow. I get
It's
it.
very hard, even if we have very little production. So when you do this kind of tours and like people start getting mad at you, you're like, damn, I just want to do my own tour so we can go as hard as we want and we can make it like our own show versus kind of like, people want to limit you a little bit or like, hey, can you only play this kind of music? You don't
Do you
want
get
to
to
play.
choose your set list?
Yeah, but sometimes
Yeah.
they try to put limits on it. We haven't
No
really done
plans.
open on a tour. That was like probably like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Did
but
you have a favorite of at least the
Of the
big
tours?
ones?
It was cool touring with Matoma.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Tom
Matoma.
was really
We did a
fun.
bus tour with him. He's the man. We love Tom.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, who outside of you three has been the most instrumental in moving the needle on your journey? Like, did you be like an incredible manager, an incredible
Our
producer?
managers in the back are gonna be just waiting for us.
No pressure.
Wait, what was the question? I don't know.
Probably like, if I had to say one person, I'd probably say Mike Began.
Mike McGann.
Mike McGann is the biggest yet.
Who is Mike Begane?
He was a head of a playlist creation at Spotify back in the day.
Cause like when we first started streaming, it was kind of like a new thing, and labels hadn't really like figured out what they were gonna do with it. So Mike Began was kind of just like finding music that he liked, and he was also finding new artists that he believed in, and that. So when we put out Sex, he was like, I'm gonna make this. He was like texting us like, I'm gonna make this fucking huge.
Well, he just put even our second song we ever released, Adventure. He put it on a couple playlists and it reacted so well. that
Yeah, it went viral
number one on global for Spotify viral songs. Or whatever.
Yeah,
So
which
it was
is
just
huge.
like it was having him give our music a chance in the beginning when we didn't have a label, we didn't have anybody like that really cared enough to put money behind it or anything like that. So the fact that he was willing to give it a chance and put it in front of listeners and it reacted well, and Spotify just they base all their stuff off the data. So if a song didn't do well, it would go down.
Yeah.
But because he gave us a chance, people liked it, reacted well, it kept going higher and people kept listening. So like people like him make a huge difference for new artists because they can literally change your life like overnight, which is literally what happened.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Spotify then is your guys' favorite streaming platform, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Spotify.
All day.
I like Spotify because the back end is like really easy to see like how many streams you're getting like per day or like where the most streams are coming in from and then also like
On the artist side, you mean?
like the dashboard
Yeah.
for it. And then also something really cool is we just did our bus tour was you're able to like send out notifications to all your followers
cool.
that you're touring like in their city and you can do them. So, you know, we have over, I forget how many
Over
followers.
2 million now.
2 million followers. So it's like, that's like really huge for artists, you know.
Yeah, you guys are, I'd say, on my New Music Friday or release radar like every week. So.
Oh, you know, gotta keep them coming.
So much.
Yeah. Okay, so your new song, Afraid of Love,
Yes.
just dropped.
Yep.
Tell us about that song and which one of you is afraid of love?
Ooh, that's a good question. We did that with our good pal Jay Hart. He goes by Styles and Massey. He sings on the song. He's a writer, an artist that we've worked with for a long time, but he's written a few songs with us that we've released just in the past. He's just a super talented person. We love working with him, and the fact that we get to do a song with him, with his vocal on it, is really cool. He's super talented. His voice is crazy. He went and performed the song with us a couple times, and like when he comes out, he's just
So good.
ready to go, guns blazing, vocals, like doing crazy runs that aren't in the song. Just like I'm like, all right, I gotta step it up. Yeah, he's going hard. Yeah, so yeah.
So which one's afraid of love?
Ooh, who's the most afraid of love?
He is?
Who would you point out?
No, I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Jay Hart.
Oh, Jay Hart? I mean, I don't know, maybe. I mean, out of us three, I don't know.
Well, did you guys write the song?
No, Jay Hart wrote this one. We just produced it. Yeah,
So
so
maybe it isn't.
maybe it's Jay Hart.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not here, so he's the easiest one to point
He's
to.
an easy
right?
target.
Yeah, it's gotta be him. It must be.
Alright, so after dropping Hellraiser's albums and then going on tour and wrapping the No Cap live stream event, you guys are probably exhausted.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do to stay focused and motivated when you're burning out?
That's a good question.
Well, definitely on the tour, like I would on the bus tour, I would be getting pretty tired, and then I would hit a workout, and then I'd get a little bit boost of energy. So that was keeping pretty regular on that, like kind of helped me power through it. Meditating is good.
Self-care.
I probably should have kept working. I should have worked out.
Yeah, I didn't really work out.
Matt was always doing really good with that.
I got massages. That was nice.
I didn't do a good job of doing any of that stuff. I gotta take better care of my body.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I was a little exhausted, still a little tired. But no, it's all good. We're happy to be here. It's a good way to kind of end the long few months of a lot of shows, but you know, keep your Miami, so it's all good.
Yeah, for
Fun.
sure. Okay, so you guys are putting out a ton of new music.
Yep.
I feel like, as I said, you guys are always on New Music Friday. So do you guys have a big catalog of music that you're like ready to release, or are you constantly making new music like while you're on the road? How does that process kind of work?
Yeah, we always have too much music that we just can't release it all, it feels like. So it's one of those things where we're just trying to figure out the best ways to, you know, release songs, get them heard without like overlapping, you know what I mean? So we have a lot of music, and we have a lot to release over the next 12 months, I guess. So there's no shortage.
Yeah, and also just us being independent artists, it's like we can kind of do whatever we want. Like we can put out as much music as we want or as little, and you know, we're not on a major label, so it's not like
One song.
$1 million budgets like every time we drop a record, you know. So sometimes just us putting the music out and letting the music stand on its own is the best marketing, you know. So, but yeah, also during COVID, we didn't play any shows for 8 months, so we did have a big backlog during that. Like we're just like, let's just work on music, and so some of the songs like "Afraid of Love" we finished during that time. So we do have, I think we're kind of nearing the end of that era of music that we did during that time, but I think we're gonna take the month of May off to work on a bunch of new music as well.
So talking a little bit about that, do you guys have like a specific creative process or a place that you make music? How long does it take you to make a song, or like where do you start? Like, talk about that.
It's always very different. You know, it's like it's whatever is inspiring us in that moment, whether it's a vocal or a drum beat or a synth or some chords. So it just kind of it's not, for me, it's not fun to get stale with making a song. Always having, like, some people have their way of doing it, but I think it's just more fun to kind of just go with whatever's, you know, hitting you that day. So yeah, as far as the creative process, it's just a matter of just, you know, trial and error, enjoying yourself in the process, and just not really thinking about it too much. Because the more you think about it, the shittier the music is. So just have fun with it.
Is there like somewhere that you go or something that you do when you're trying to get inspired?
No.
No.
Yeah.
You don't like go
Right.
like on vacation beach or
That
like
doesn't do it for me, you know?
No?
It's just, no, you gotta like, for me, it's like, you gotta like make 4 songs before the 5th one's like really good. You know what I mean? You just gotta sit
Okay.
and keep making, and then.
It's like brainstorming, you know.
So how many songs do you think you guys have made that haven't been released?
Oh, so many.
Over like 30,000.
30,000.
I don't know about
There's hundreds though. I mean, I'll look at my phone and I'll like, even like last week I was going through my phone, just looking through notes and stuff. And there's like lists of songs that we like never released. Just like, I don't know, it goes on
It's
forever.
like 200, 300.
Yeah, there's just so many songs.
Do you ever go back to any of those, or are you like you're always
No.
evolving? So
Well,
you,
we have songs that like we did early on back in the day that we'll just like listen to sometimes.
But that was good.
never came out. We're like,
Yeah.
Adrenaline.
We should have
Adrenaline.
released that. Sometimes we'll hear like, oh, that was good if we finished it. But we'll like hear it and it sounds dated or like the production's like old or like, I don't know, it's just like,
There ain't no step, there ain't no snap.
yeah, see, there's so many that come to mind. Gone in a minute.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So many funny ones. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of music just sitting around. Maybe one day we'll just put it on a hard drive and just put it on Dropbox.
You know which one I
and send it
really
out.
like?
Huh.
Is that one the one that should have been a 7-Up? The one that you did for Zed, the refreshing?
Refreshing.
Bro, that one used to be for 7-Up, bro. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. That one's so good.
So
Did he release it?
refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was tight.
No,
No.
Zed like made some track and he just had like
Needed a
Yeah,
vocal.
we just had a
Trevor was just slaying it. That sounds so
Made a little
nice.
bop, you know?
That sounds good.
all right, well,
commercial.
7-Up if you're listening.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Or I'm actually more of a Sprite guy.
Yeah, Sprite.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Or either one, I love it all.
true,
I mean,
but he'll take either.
Yeah.
Okay.
do you see that Coke?
I love Diet Coke. I'm a big Diet Coke guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Diet Coke?
Big Diet
It's
Coke.
the only thing he drinks.
I have like 20 a
Unpopular
day.
opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like it?
I mean, who picks Diet Coke over Coke Zero?
Oh, see, I can't do Coke Zero. It tastes like too much like Coke.
These
Oh
are
my
the
God.
important things.
What's your favorite soda, Matt? You have one?
club soda.
Whoa,
With-
that's a shocker.
With or without
Does
vodka?
that count?
Just regular
It's not
club
like
soda.
soda.
Flavor soda.
Flavor soda.
No, it's not. Well, I guess.
Yeah, pick
Yeah,
a
yeah,
favorite
what's your
soda.
favorite?
Well, no, what's sugar?
Oh,
in it?
man, come on.
I know,
Maybe like a
sugar.
root beer or
Yeah,
RW?
sure, you guys.
So he's the healthy one I take.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really drink soda.
Alright, that's fair. Okay,
Don't make me drink soda. I'm not playing this game with you guys.
Okay, so a lot of emerging artists start out solo, but Fiverr's mission is to give people the opportunity to connect with one another and provide opportunity no matter who you are or where you are. So when you are looking for people to collaborate, how do you decide who's a good person to collaborate and who should people be looking for during that process?
It kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for somebody like creative or whatever, kind of just depends on what art speaks to you and what you're going for, I guess. So I don't know. It kind of depends on what like specific task you're looking
Yeah.
for.
Like if you are looking for somebody to collaborate on a song that you meet, maybe networking in LA, like what is it about them that makes you want to give them a chance? Is it because you've seen their work before? Is it their personality or their energy? Like,
I think it's their energy, their vibe, and just like obviously their talent. If they show you something that they're excited about and it speaks to you and you're inspired by it, then obviously that's somebody you want to work with for sure. Somebody might be something good, but it might not speak to you. You know, it is what it is. It's just a matter of taste. So yeah, it's just a matter of what you like, and just find somebody you dig and go for it.
Yeah.
at this stage in your career, do you guys feel like you would give somebody a chance that maybe doesn't have some impressive pedigree when you think they're talented?
We do all the time, for sure. There's artists that we've worked with that have literally hit us up on Twitter. Like there's an artist named Daniel Bloom
Yep.
who hit us up on Twitter. He was like 15 or something like that. He sent us some song ideas. We kept in touch with him, and finally he sent us a song that we really liked. We did the song with him. We put it out. It's called "Who's Got Your Love." It's got like 50 million streams, something like that. And he's been able to turn that into like a career for himself. You know, he's been able to. He signed a record deal.
Yeah.
He put out a bunch of music and.
Or with
You
Jack.
toured with us too.
Yeah, he toured with Jack Jones, that he said. Yeah, so he's done all sorts of cool. He toured with us. We got him on some dates with us, and he joined the bus tour with us with Steve Aoki in the UK.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just one of those things where you never, you know, we love the idea of working with new artists, and we don't care if you have a big, you know, resume or not. It's a matter of if you're making something cool. And he was just a passionate kid who made good music, and we wanted to give him a chance and make a song with him. So
That's awesome. So knowing what you guys know now, everything you've done with your career and will continue to do, if you could give advice to an aspiring artist or to yourself back when you were starting, what would that be?
It's hard to speak like it was because it happened. It's easy to, like, in hindsight, it's easy to be like, well, you
Right.
should have done this and this and this.
But that's valuable.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people are in those shoes now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, like, going back, I would say, like, I would avoid labels, and I would just really just focus on, like, building a catalog that you own and that you have power over, and something that you can be, something that you have ownership of, as opposed to somebody, like, buying something from you that they're going to make money off of, and you're going to see a small percentage of that. So it's just a matter of, like, hustling with social media and putting out music consistently, not taking anybody's, like no for an answer from anybody, like, doing things for yourself and making things happen, and yeah, I would say owning your own catalog.
Yeah, owning your IP.
So, all right, a little bit more general. What are the best parts and the worst parts of the music industry?
Well, the best parts is like traveling and getting performed for people and like building fans that love your music. It's like the best feeling in the world when like people are singing your songs. Like, oh, we wrote that like in a hot garage in Van Nuys, California. People are singing it like in Mexico or like Amsterdam or something. So I think that's the best part. I think the worst part is probably just, there's a lot of like politics or like industry stuff that you got to do. Like play the game,
Yes.
things that people expect you to do, and it's like it can be a lot. A lot of people can't handle it.
So, going back to your fans a little bit, what do you guys do to connect with your fans? Is there like a certain social media site that you guys frequent the most? Do you like go hang out with your fans after concerts, or
Yeah.
have you become friends with any of your fans?
After the shows, we always try to go back and meet
Yeah.
everybody and
Take
sign
pictures with
whatever,
people
take
and
pictures
stuff.
and do the whole thing. So
Nikki.
we did that in this last tour, like almost every
Yeah.
show. So that was a blast being able to go say hi to everybody.
Nikki, there's one fan we know that's become a friend of ours. Her name is Nikki. She's been coming to like all of our shows like forever.
Flies all over the place.
All over the place.
Wow,
and then,
loyal.
We always let her come and
Yeah,
hang.
and then
And
she just comes backstage and hangs with us all the whole show.
she never asked for anything though. She never
Nicest
asked for
girl.
anything. So
Yeah.
she's the sweetest.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, we love her.
So now, obviously, the industry has massively changed given like how big social media is, and people are exploding and becoming musicians on TikTok. Are you guys diving into that at all? Do
I
you
love
use it
TikTok.
to like find music, or if you're releasing new music, like do you put it on TikTok? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's the craziest thing that's happened to social media in the last, or maybe ever. It's definitely a wave. Yeah, I use it all the time. Like, whether it's just while I'm bored, or if I want to like find some new artists and stuff. There's definitely some really really talented new artists on there. Yeah, I use it all the time.
Yeah, the new music that like I listen to like in current day is like only from like TikTok stuff, like the viral hits.
I feel like all of the top
yeah.
songs are because they're being put on TikTok. I'm not sure if that's organic or being pushed by someone, but
A little bit of both.
yeah.
You know.
They're all catchy though.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't think, obviously that wasn't there a few years back, so now
Yeah.
that's like a whole new opportunity for someone to
Yeah.
put their music.
Well, it kind of changes the format a little bit too, because I remember when streaming was first a thing, Spotify, there was like people kind of changing the format for Spotify so that you kind of like for the algorithms or like the analytics. So now it's like there's 15 seconds. If you have like a really good hook that is memorable with 15 seconds on TikTok,
Yep.
it can go viral. So,
Sure.
but I guess the only issue with that is if that's the only good part of the song, and then nobody wants to listen to the rest of it, that could be a problem. But
Well, hopefully you get them in, so at
Yeah.
least you get the stream,
Yeah.
right?
Consumption rate is going up.
But also with TikTok now and all social media, I think it's become a little bit more about the artist as a whole. And I mean, obviously the music is super important, but on TikTok it's the video. You're probably in that video showcasing yourself.
Right.
So I think it's probably pretty cool for people to have that connection that they didn't otherwise have when it was just streaming platforms, so
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Spotify or SoundCloud.
It's easier to fall in love with the person, when you're seeing them and you're seeing like their work ethic and them posting every day, trying to get their career off the ground and whatever. So it's inspiring people. People get excited about supporting those types of artists and seeing them succeed and start from nothing. So it's definitely a whole new way. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think there's a different level of connection when you feel like you know them as a person and not just like you love their music, but you know who's behind it. So that's really cool. So okay, a few short questions and then we'll wrap things up. What is your favorite song that you guys have ever made?
I love Balenciaga, the song we put out a little while ago. Just because I love the vibe of like going from like very melodic thing in the beginning to something very heavy in the drop. I think that's a cool contrast, and I'd love to do more of that.
What about you guys?
I like probably the Feels Great, Fetty Wap.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that one.
What's your fave?
Takes you back.
Well, we started doing like live sets, and we've been doing like live drums and bass and guitar for our last bus tour. And my favorite one to always play is our song called Hurricane. We have a live version. Yeah, Tyson Ritter sings on the vocals, but we play it live like with guitars and bass and drums. And this guy named Arcando, who is just an up and coming guy we'd never heard of until we did a remix contest for that. He made a version of it, and we've been playing it live, and it's like really fun to play live, and people seem to really like it. So.
One of my favorites is No Service in the Hills.
Hey,
Yeah.
Kev on those vocals.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
Thank you so much.
What's the one? That's the one that Bryce.
Bryce Vine, Stay.
Yeah. that
Stay
one.
with the ice.
Yeah.
I love that one too. Yeah, see, I might change mine.
You changed yours to Stay?
Yeah, I love Stay.
You love Bryce,
'Cause
huh?
I love Bryce. Great
It's so
guy.
vibey. It's
I love
really
it.
good.
You know they wrote that
About here, right?
in Miami.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Full
Sorry,
circle.
guys.
But there's what?
Sorry to tell you.
It was
Yeah,
Bryce
sure.
and our friend JP. They wrote the chorus when they were in Miami, and they were here for writing sessions, and they didn't do anything all day. And then last minute, they're like, "Oh, we should write a song because we're leaving."
Because that's the reason we're here, is to write a song, and we've just been like partying the whole time in Miami.
And so they
Pushed
they're
back
like,
the
"I'm
flights.
gonna leave, but I want to stay." You know?
So it was not about a love interest at all. It was about leaving Miami.
Yep.
Wow.
Miami is
All right.
Well, it is a love story about
Miami, it's a real deal.
That's true. That's fair. Do you guys have a least favorite song?
No, I don't think so. I think all the
There's
stuff
nothing
we
you
have
ever
is pretty
released that you're like,
bangers.
ugh.
Yeah, there's probably a couple.
Yeah, we would be like,
I didn't know if there was like one that stuck out.
There's a song called Heaven that we did that bums me out.
but that song is so good.
I know, it just did not do well, and so it made me not like the song.
Really, that song is great.
I think sometimes too, like
You got so much hype for a song, you're like, oh, I love it, and then they come back and this didn't do well, no one cared. You're like, oh, you're like, damn.
Also, I think sometimes the songs bum me out. Like Heaven, for example, we had for like a long time, and we made so many versions of it.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where you're like, I don't know which version's the best.
Right.
So what do you do?
So then you
Do
just
like,
kind of
outsource to
just
your friends?
put. Well, this is back when we were on a label, so you kind of just put out a version that the label likes.
We
or
play the
just
game,
whatever.
that's
Yeah.
why it's not fun.
So
you
then,
know?
yeah, it's not as fun, and you're just like,
It's another reason I don't like it as much, you know?
you're like, well, they think it's the best version, then you put it out and like, it doesn't really do that well, and you're like, well, maybe they were wrong doing that.
So if the label's not involved and you're like, I don't know if this version's better, this version's better, or if this drop is good.
We don't
Do you
make
guys-
we don't make as many versions.
Well, do you guys
without
ask your
that.
friends
Yeah,
though?
it's like-
Do you listen to do you have people listen to like your more raw stuff?
We show people, but at the end of the day, we just gotta go with what we like. We
Yeah.
can't really trust anybody else's opinion. We just gotta go with our gut.
Yeah, you usually make 2 or 3 versions and just pick the best one. It's not like a.
Little-
It's not like when it's like becomes like a drawn out thing. Like when you're making art and creating it, it feels more like a job. It doesn't feel like fun. So then it's not as when the song's finally out, you're just like, whatever. I'm just done. I'm just done like dealing with this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus like, oh dude, I'm fucking hyped, and like you just finished it and then you put it out like a month or 2 later, then it's like you're more excited about it.
You made the video over the pandemic, remember?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was remotely produced in like 6 different places.
Oh yeah.
That was something.
How long on average does it take you guys to make a song?
It's hard to do average.
What's
It
like
Could
the
be fast, could be
fastest?
long.
could be fast, but it can be really fast. It could be.
Sex is pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're taking just the amount of time of like hours and work that goes into it, probably just take a couple weeks or a month. But sometimes that's spread out like over like a year. You might like have it 90% done, and you're like put it on the back burner, and then you're like, okay, now we're actually gonna put it out. So let's like finish the mix or finish up like let's do one last version or something, or add a couple things to the production. Or
So you're working on like multiple songs at the same time. You're not just like thinking about one song.
well, yeah, just trying to figure out like which one we're gonna put out next, like what makes the most sense and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys have a favorite song to play in concert? Is there one that like really gets people hyped?
Pretty Girl Goes Off.
Like feels great.
Sex.
Good answers. I like all those songs. Okay, last question. If you weren't a musician, what would you be?
I've been working for Fiverr.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Matt?
That's a good question. Maybe I would like have a landscaping business or something.
Yeah.
Have a landscaping business?
Yeah, you know.
That is so
Yeah.
outside the box. I didn't see it
Entrepreneur,
coming.
you know?
Yeah. Alright, we got landscaping.
Okay.
We got working for Fiverr.
That'd probably be NBA.
You be in the NBA.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
You should
This
decide.
guy was on his way and he had a big toe energy and a big toe.
Big toe energy. Yeah. Dude, you got big toe energy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe you stub your toe and then your career is thrown
Yeah,
off.
so I actually don't have a big toe on my right foot.
Alright, so
He kind of wobbles like.
I lied. I can't end on that note. Big toe energy is great, but one last question.
Okay. No worries.
What is next for Cheat Codes?
We are putting out part 3 of our Hellraisers album, so it's a bunch of dance songs coming out very, very soon. One of which is Afraid of Love, just came out. And then we're working on a bunch of country collaborations that we're super stoked about. It's definitely a new world for us. But we've got some music that we're really excited about for people to hear. And I'm sure we're going to be going on another tour this next year. You know, we're always playing shows, but you know, hopefully planning for another bus tour around the States and maybe international again. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all the time we have, but thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us. And
Thank you.
go check out Cheat Codes on Spotify.
Thank you, thank you.
Are you afraid of? Are you afraid of love? Are you afraid of? Are you afraid to jump into the fire when the fire could burn? I can tell you're falling, but you're falling asleep.